Kyle Dubas is under fire by Penguins fans again because most of the players he signed aren't even on the roster anymore. And the ones that are have cap hits that are unmovable, including Tristan Jarry, who he tried to trade and couldn't trade, and now he's in the AHL. Riley Smith isn't even on the team anymore, and he's doing just fine in New York with the Rangers. So we have to talk about it. The big question presents itself. It rears its ugly head. The elephant in the room is Kyle Dubas, the guy for the job. Everybody wants to say that he's not and criticize him. I've been defending him all along, but it's time to look at the opposite side of this equation and to look at the opposing viewpoint that Kyle Dubas maybe isn't the guy for the job, and he's made a lot more mistakes than me and other Penguins fans would like to admit at this point in time. So on this episode of Penguins Digest, we're going to break down all the moves that Kyle Dubas has made, and has he been a good general manager for the Pittsburgh Penguins? First and foremost, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, a lot of you have. We reached 400 subscribers here on Penguins Digest. Let's get to 500 before the next 2 videos are done. We're trying to get about 50 per video so that by the end of the month, we can be at 1,000 subscribers. I really appreciate you guys hitting that sub button. If you can, hit it. And let's keep going. Kyle Dubas. And this guy has been a very questionable general manager for the Pittsburgh Penguins. He has had his moments. He's made some good signings, but he's also made a lot of bad signings, and he has been exposed for those bad signings in recent days, as this article was just released a couple days ago talking about Dubas after the Jarry mishap. It says, just as a refresher, here are the main moves that Kyle Dubas made during that initial offseason. And oh my, there's some moves that Kyle Dubas made during that offseason. Yes, there was. Tristan Jarry got a ridiculous 5-year, $26.8 million contract. Very much not deserved. If you look at his numbers before that, it was kind of confusing to begin with. My defense for Mr. Dubas was there weren't many other options to go out there and get, but he could have easily traded for a goalie. And we'll talk about the Washington Capitals and their roster construction later today because we just lost to them last night. And Logan Thompson might just be a Vezina Trophy winner at this point because that was almost his 3rd straight shutout. And 5 of his last 6 starts, he's allowed 1 goal or 0. So that's just proof that you can go get a goalie that another team has no value in. Vegas didn't want Logan Thompson. Well, the Cap said, sure, we'll take him. And look at what he has done for them. So that's just proof that it doesn't always come from within your own system. If you don't have the guy, you go out and get a guy. So we'll look at the Capitals here later in the video, but let's keep going down this list. Ryan Graves, 6 years, $27 million. Oh my gosh, that's a bad contract. That guy is terrible. He's rarely in the lineup, and when he is, he doesn't do anything. So I guess that's another mistake by Kyle Dubas. Chalk it up as number 2. And then he traded a 3rd-round pick, we could have used, for Riley Smith, who made basically no impact on the team. 2 years and $5 million a year to the salary cap. I would have rather kept Jason Zucker at that point. And Riley Smith is doing the same mediocre things that he did in Pittsburgh in New York. So great job there, Kyle Dubas. Let's move on to the next one. Erik Karlsson. Now this is a big splash. He went out there and got Erik Karlsson because he's the reigning Norris Trophy winner, 3-time Norris Trophy winner from the San Jose Sharks, coming off a ridiculous season. Well, a season that he was not going to replicate. So we buy high on a guy that is at peak value, and we trade away a lot of assets. Nothing that I really missed that really. A lot of just players that Ron Hextall brought in that we didn't want anyways, that we're able to get rid of to get Erik Karlsson, because taking on his salary was bad enough, and we're still feeling the effects of that. Paying him, oh my gosh, paying him how much? Oh my gosh. So that's not good. Karlsson eating into the cap number, preventing flexibility to make other moves on this roster and address other holes on this roster because of how much money he is making. And then, of course, Nola Chari, not a huge contract, $2 million a year, 3 years, $6 million total. He's a good bottom 6 kind of winger. He can hit people pretty good. That's about the only thing he can do. Cost us a game, the other game against the Tampa Bay Lightning. I'm not going to think about that, though. I still think it was an okay signing, but I'm not going to give him a check mark on that one either. So then we go to the next one. Matt Nieto, 2 years, $1.9 million contract. It's less than $1 million a year. So can you really, criticize that? I guess not. I mean, he was a healthy scratch a lot of the time. He was hurt. So Matt Nieto, I can't give you a check mark for that either. Lars Eller, he's on the Capitals now. How about that? Good job there, Kyle Dubas, trading him away to the Washington Capitals, getting a draft pick for him, so at least we get something out of Lars Eller, because Cody Glass is playing that exact same role for us right now. A younger player, in the Capitals are utilizing Lars Eller. He's actually playing less minutes in Washington than he played in Pittsburgh, believe it or not. And he made a little bit of an impact last night on the game. I like Lars Eller. He's a great player. And a team that's competing for a Stanley Cup, of course, would want a guy like that. And then we look to Alex Nedeljkovic. Alex Nedeljkovic, $1.5 million. I mean, that's good, right? And then we signed him after that offseason as well for another contract. And, he's been okay. Basically backup goalie money for Alex Nedeljkovic. But it goes back to that original signing of Tristan Jarry that was the problem in why we even needed Alex Nedeljkovic to back him up, because Tristan Jarry is so bad. It was a 1A, 1B tandem from the start. Tristan Jarry was never going to start games like Connor Hellebuck does, like Jake Ottinger does. It was never going to happen. He was never going to be your franchise goalie. Igor Shesterkin. I can name up all these franchise goalies. Tristan Jarry was not that. And Tristan Jarry was paid like that. At that point in time, he got a pretty decent contract for a goaltender. So I just don't understand this. Criticism of Dubas is legit. People are allowed to say whatever they want about this guy because he's made so many mistakes. I can't even give you a list of things he's done right. I can't. I mean, he's trying. The guy is trying. He was dealt a really crappy hand when Ron Hextall left. But the moves that Dubas has made, the only free agency one that I can think of that panned out is Blake Lizotte. And he missed a lot of time due to injury. But I really like Blake Lizotte. I thought that was a great signing. So there are some positives with Kyle Dubas, but it's mostly negative. So I understand the harsh criticism that he has been getting from fans. It makes sense. I'm not saying it doesn't make sense. I'm not going to keep defending the guy because you look at what he's done. NHL Network is making a mockery of this guy. This was posted a couple days ago. Look at this notable signings by Kyle Dubas. Oh, my. Tristan Jarry, Lars Eller, Riley Smith, Ryan Graves. Oh, my. You're talking about over $10 million in cap spent on Jarry and Graves, and then Eller and Riley Smith aren't even on the team anymore. It's so frustrating, guys. Holy macaroni. I mean, seriously. I can't get over this. And the criticism's real. I'm tired of defending this guy in my comment section. I'm tired of defending Kyle Dubas. If you guys look at the facts, if you look at what he's done, he has done a lot more bad than good. I understand that. Was he dealt a very impossible situation from the start? Yes. He was at a disadvantage from day one, but he still has been bad, okay? There's no doubting that. There is no arguing that at this point. There is literally no argument. Just look at the contracts. Look at this team's salary cap and the amount of money that we are playing and paying for mediocrity. We are putting a team out there that can barely compete for a playoff spot, and we are paying one of the highest cap hits in the entire NHL for this roster. The Penguins are pressed up against the cap, and it's because of dumb contracts. I mean, we're paying our big core players a decent bit of money, and they're well past the prime of their career. That's okay. I'm not arguing about that. It's the role players that I'm looking at here. It's the Kevin Hayes. Why is Kevin Hayes here, right? I like Kevin Hayes, but why is Kevin Hayes here, right? Cody Glass, I like him. Nola Chori, again, go back to the free agency that Kyle Dubas was spending all that money. Blake Lizotte, same thing. Anthony Beauvillier was last offseason. So this most recent offseason, he's signing him to a one-year contract. Has Sebastian Aho really even done anything? No, we signed him pretty much the same time we signed Beauvillier, and I haven't even seen him in the NHL. So kind of a waste of a defensive signing there, but I guess it was a two-way contract, so can't hate on him too much for that. Matt Nieto, from the offseason before that, we should be focused on extending the players that are actually valuable to this team. But instead, we're spending money on a bunch of nobodies, right? A bunch of guys that are not doing what they're told to do, doing what they're paid to do. Our role players, they have their moments, and the games that they play well, we win. The games that they don't play well, we can't score any goals. So, I mean, just look back to all of that. Rickard Rakell wasn't a Kyle Dubas move. That was the only Ron Hextall move I actually agreed with. And the real problem is on defense. The real problem is Erik Karlsson, Ryan Graves. What is happening? Why are we paying all this money for these guys? I don't understand. Marcus Pettersson, again, good is gone. We have to trade the guy. Okay, he hasn't been playing as well actually lately either. I've noticed that with him. He hasn't been the same guy since he got hurt. So I would say trade him before he continues to lower his stock and his trade value. I would trade him immediately. Tristan Jarry, obviously in the AHL now. We have Alex Nedeljkovic and Joel Blomqvist. I mean, guys, we're not spending that much money on goalie now, but we still have to pay Tristan Jarry because he cleared waivers and he's still on our books. So that contract is going to be felt by the Penguins unless they buy him out or find some taker for him. It's miserable. It's miserable. Guys, we are in cap HE double hockey stick. That's where we're at right now. And we have so many bad contracts that we cannot get rid of because Kyle Dubas signed these ridiculous contracts that we cannot get off the books. We cannot get rid of Jarry. We cannot get rid of Graves. Oh, it's so frustrating, guys. It's so frustrating. And I just want to compare this to what the Washington Capitals are doing right now. Look at the standings in the Eastern Conference. Look at the standings in the Eastern Conference. The Washington Capitals are at the top of the Eastern Conference. They have the best record in the National Hockey League. Did I expect to beat them yesterday? No, I did not expect to beat them yesterday. We lost that game. It was the second game of a back-to-back. It's going to be a difficult schedule coming up, guys. That was the one back-to-back we have to deal with, and I'm okay that we lost that game. I didn't expect to win that game, but the way that they played in that game until they got that first goal and then tried to get some energy going until that was killed, oh my gosh, by Kris Letang getting called for a dumb penalty. He didn't do anything wrong. Kris Letang, you can blame Letang, but it was the ref's fault that was even called. Let's not even talk about the game last night because I'm just going to get all worked up, guys. But this standings here, if you look at the standings, the Penguins are not out of it. I'm not saying they're out of it, but the way that this team is playing right now, they have 2 wins in the last 10 games. 2 wins in the last 10 games. This is not going to cut it. Not going to cut it at all. The Washington Capitals have been consistently good all year long. How is that possible, you may ask? How is that possible? They had the same win window as the Penguins when they were winning their Stanley Cup in 2018. They had the same window. All their core players, Ovechkin, Backstrom, Karlsson, they're all aging. They're all aging, right? But the Penguins are the team that's in a terrible situation right now, whereas the Capitals are building for the future on the fly. They've gotten all these good young players, and that's why they're right back in it. Retooling, not rebuilding. Retooling, not rebuilding. That's what Kyle Dubas was supposed to do, okay? Well, the young players that he's got are nowhere near the quality of the young players the Washington Capitals have on their roster. These guys are loaded. I mean, Ovechkin was out and they didn't even feel it. They didn't even notice. They were still winning. Why is that? Why is that? It's because they have guys like Alexi Protas, 24 years old, Alexi Protas. That guy is an absolute monster. They have Connor McMichael, also 24 years old. He is an absolute monster. I mean, the list goes on. Dylan Strome, he's 27 years old, former 3rd overall pick. He is a stud as well. Pierre-Luc Dubois, they gave him a chance. They gave him an opportunity. He wasn't happy where he was at. They got him, and he has been productive. 36 points this season for the 26-year-old, another 3rd overall pick years ago. They were giving this guy an opportunity, okay? Now look at the defense. The defense is even more impressive for the Washington Capitals. They're able to get these young defensemen that are effective. Jacob Chikrin, 26 years old, former 1st-round pick. They went and traded for him. He is a monster. Rasmus Sandin, another one, 24 years old, former 1st-round pick. They gave him an opportunity when no one else would. They traded for him. They saw the value in him. They are maximizing his value. Logan Thompson, a guy that was essentially thrown away by the Vegas Golden Knights. Washington said, here, let me take him. He has been ridiculous this season for the Capitals. His numbers are off the charts. 21 wins and 26 starts, 209 goals against average, and a .925 save percentage. This guy has been on an absolute tear. You wonder why the Capitals are winning. That is why they are winning. They made the right moves at the right time. They retooled instead of rebuilt, and they have a young roster that is sustainable. It's not that hard. Look at the blueprint of what they've done compared to what Kyle Dubas has done, guys. It's not even close. It's so easy to see how this is done and how this is not done. There are your examples. The Capitals have done it right. The Penguins have done it wrong. So what is the next step? The next step is making some big trades for some young players that are not in good situations, and it starts with the Buffalo Sabres. Stay tuned for the next video that I will be posting on this channel, Penguins Digest, talking about players that the Penguins are going to go get that could change things for the better before it's too late. I'm talking Dylan Cousins. I'm talking Bowen Byram. Let's talk all about it on the next episode of Penguins Digest. Thank you guys for watching this episode, and stay tuned for that next video because it is coming. The next video is coming, okay? The Penguins lost to the Washington Capitals yesterday. I understand there's not much to talk about. We're not going to talk about it. They lost. They lost. It is what it is, guys. They lost. Final score 4-1. It's over. Let's move on to the next game against the Kings on Tuesday, on Monday night. Monday night, 10:30 against the Kings. That's tomorrow. Today's a day off. Let's not talk about what happened last night. Let's not talk about what happened last night. Let's talk about tomorrow. So let's just focus on right now this roster. Let's complain about Kyle Dubas some more. Let's talk about what he's done wrong. And there's nothing really good to say about last night. There's nothing. I got nothing for you. I got nothing for you from last night. Nothing good. Nothing good. 4-1 is deceiving. That's what I'll tell you. 4-1 is deceiving because it was a 1-goal game before the penalty call on Kris Letang. I did not agree with the penalty call. Bad. It was bad. So, thank you guys for watching this episode of Penguins Digest. It was a quick one. I was talking a lot. Apologize. That was a rant. That's called a rant. I'm calming down now. Not really, because this team gets me fired up. This team gets me fired up. So thank you guys for watching this episode. Hit the sub button if you would for me, please. We're over 400 subscribers. Like I said, goal is 1,000 by the end of the month. Hit the sub button, and we'll see you on the next episode where we talk trades here on Penguins Digest. Thank you so much, and we'll see you on the next one. Let's go, Pengs.